Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eichenberry in real life, and welcome to my jungle. And there's Frostmourne back there. That's the real deal. Subscribe for your chance to win. One subscriber is going to win that, and we have a lot of other prizes. So, anyway, battery use on my tablet's getting low. Oh my god. Okay, continue using it anyway. Let's just get through this question. Okay, from Braden Wins, and I apologize how profusely I'm sweating back here and swatting at everything. I don't have Tourette's. It's like 90 degrees. There are thunderstorms moving in. It's really, really humid. And I'm out here in the jungle, and I'm getting eaten alive by all the mosquitoes in my backyard. And, you know, I have no defense against them, except for to just hit myself when I think one's on me right there. So, anyway, Braden Wins. He says, Marky, what are your thoughts on piracy? Do you find it acceptable? Do you think game companies overreact about it? Well, Braden, that is a very, very good question. And I have a lot of experience with piracy. And so I'm going to confess something to all of you. I used to be a very big pirate. Many years ago, back in the BBS days. So this was the late 80s, early 90s. And I was just, you know, let's see, in 1990 I was 20 years old. And I had a good job, but I really didn't have a whole lot of money. And this is when BBSs were very popular. And so the BBSs, which are bulletin board systems, it's pre-internet. Basically, my computer would dial another computer that was usually local, unless you want to pay long-distance charges, which long-distance charges then were way outrageous compared to what it is nowadays. You're all spoiled by having nationwide long-distance for free. You know, and then like 14 cents a minute to Africa, Saudi Arabia, you know, Israel, everywhere. You know, that was not the case. It used to cost multiple dollars a minute to call other places, other countries, and you could pay 50 cents a minute for local or, you know, long distance stuff. It was not unheard of. I one time dialed a BBS because they had something that I really, really wanted, and they were the only place I knew of to get it, and they were outside of my calling area, and I think I spent $100 to transfer that file. Talk about being nervous when the clock is ticking and you're spending all that money. Anyway, I used to pirate a lot of software, and we got all kinds of games, we got all kinds of applications, and we did all kinds of stuff, and I would share them back out with other people, and we you know, we did that with all kinds of things. And the copy protection on stuff back then, hardly anything had a registration key. If you had the executable, you could install it and you could play it. And so, and because back then not everybody had had internet access and to do like they do nowadays to make you register online. So basically, I did that for quite a while, and then when the internet first came out, I was still doing that, and until one day when a buddy of mine and I, we had an application that we had made that we put out there that once in the wild, somebody stole it, and they not only stole it, but they reverse engineered it and they re-engineered it to give a different message to everyone that was using it, saying that basically they were the author, and you know, and that they should go to their site and stuff, and so they would be able to make money off of it and everything. Uncool. Somebody came to us and said that they found that out there on a download site or something like that, and that's when I found piracy religion. Having been affected to it, I realized how bad it was. And so I understand that piracy still exists. I know it's going to exist. And am I okay with it? No. Am I okay with, you know, doing, doing multiple copies, I'm okay with staying within the limitations of what the software publisher says you can use it as. And that can be hard sometimes. Recently, I was using a application. I guess I won't say their name because I don't want everybody to go and do what I did. But I was using a software application that I was using one machine for one part of the process in dealing with videos, and another machine to do the rendering. And when I thought that I would be able to install it on two machines, because that's a normal license, is that they'll allow you one laptop, one desktop, and sometimes I take my laptop out mobile, and I want to be able to use that application, but then I really want to be able to process it on my desktop, because my laptop, it's 4 cores and it's 8 gigs of RAM in it, but my desktop is 8 cores and 12 gigs of RAM. And it just does such a faster job at rendering things. And so I installed it on the second one and said, And I'm like, wow, this software was expensive. I mean, for me, I thought it was expensive. And I got actually really upset that I couldn't use it on both machines, because it was going to force me to use it in a way I didn't want to. But their license, which I read after that, stated that it was for use on one machine only. And so what I did was I wrote to them and I said, I appreciate your software. I actually have been using it and it works well. It's doing what I need to. But I ran into this problem. And I explained that I needed it to work on two machines, and that I wasn't trying to, pirate anything, bypass any of their security or nothing like that. And that, I explained to them why. And you know what they did? They sent me another key for free. So they understood what I was trying to do and everything, and all I did was ask. And so just by asking, you can get a long way. And so that's, a spot where I was really disappointed that it wasn't working, but then, and I still wouldn't have pirated it. I would have figured out how to buy another copy. As much as I was going to hate to pay double what I expected for it, I would have done a second copy. And so, do I think, though, that game companies go too far? Well, let me give you a formula here. And this formula is something that I like to live by with all of my business dealings and the stuff that we create. That I create a lot of videos, but I also create store processes and how to buy video games through our store, and how we can make that easier, and the flow through and everything. And the more obstacles that you have, the harder it is. The more irritated the customer is. The more irritated the customer is, the less sales you make. And that's my formula. And so I try and make it absolutely as easy as possible. It's not always easy to get your stuff to do it as easy as possible for the customer, because sometimes it means a lot of extra work on the back end. But if it's possible, I do it. And so the game companies, some of them, a lot of them use a method of a registration key that when you register the product, it will call home and say, this registration key, it'll give some information about your computer, like maybe your IP, the registration key, maybe some other hash off of your computer that basically says, I'm getting eaten alive out here, that basically says that, that you are unique. It's a unique identifier of your computer. And so they send that back and say, okay, they've paid for this, looks good. And so if someone else were to use that registration key from another location, another computer, or whatever, then it would basically say, nope. Or another method, which I really like, is it'll disable the first one. And so the person who shared their key gets their software disabled. And then when they realize that they're disabled and they go and re-enable, it disables the other person that did it. And so it becomes this whole mess. And unfortunately, if you get it stolen from you, that's one thing. But if you shared it out on purpose and that happens to you, fair enough. You did it to yourself. But there is times when the anti-piracy goes too far. And so I have run into that several times, and I really have not been a big fan of it. And game companies, listen up, publishers. When you put on security that is so tight that it interrupts my gameplay, and I'm not playing games because I want to go through a whole bunch of work so that I can do something else, whatnot. I'm playing games because I want to relax, because I want to enjoy myself, because I want to be entertained, because I want to have a good time. And anything that you do to interrupt my good time, I get pissed off about. And I'm serious about that, because that is my entertainment time, and it is my, I don't get a lot of it. I mean, I work hard. I don't get a lot of entertainment time. And so when I'm sitting down to play and you make it hard for me to get into the game, I get pissed off. And so I may, if I want to play that game bad enough, I may jump through those hoops. But I am going to be burned by that. I'm going to be scorned by that. And the next game that you have come out, I'm going to think about that whenever I decide whether or not I'm actually going to buy the game. And because I don't want to go through that kind of hassle again. And so I'll weigh in my mind, is that hassle worth the gameplay and everything? If it's yes, then fine, I'll do it. But you better have a damn good game, because if your game is mediocre at all, then I ain't buying it. And you're missing money by reducing your piracy. Now, there's been some studies out there that have said that the more you reduce piracy, the more you reduce your money, your sales, your profit. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is because it costs you a lot of money to maintain all of that. But also, there are a lot of people out there who pirate games and then buy the games. And you know, it's a sad fact that people do that, but they do. And a lot of people I've talked to have talked about doing that, and I don't agree with it, and I don't tell them that I don't agree with it. I just listen to them. And but internally, I just want to tell them that they're evil and that they're, you know, stealing and everything. But I just want you to know that that is something that goes through my head whenever I have such a hard time with a video game, you know, getting through your security. And it actually doesn't even have to be a video game. It can be something that I work with, a tool. And if the tool continually interrupts me for whatever reason because of anti-piracy stuff, I'm going to quit using the tool. I'm going to find an easier way. I believe that customers will take the path of least resistance. Dang, I see him like landing like right in between my eyes. Customers will take the path of least resistance, and so you need to make that path of least resistance the path to success. And if you allow more piracy, you are going to make more sales, and I really believe that. And that doesn't mean getting ripped off more. It doesn't mean that you should ease up on your credit card processing, or that you should ease up on PayPal payments, that you don't check them before you send stuff out or anything like that. It just means make it easy for the customer. And because if you don't, you lose sales, and it takes time and energy to not be as free and open as possible. And you know, why not be creative? You know, I've always thought that if people want to pirate the game, let them. You know, the free-to-play model is a perfect example of that. If somebody gets the client from somebody else because they copied it from them, and then they get to play anyway, why not? So these methods of, you know, connecting to a server for a game, for an online game, I have no problem with that whatsoever. And but if it's an offline application, like let's say that my tablet here, that I had an application that needed to connect to the internet every time I fired it up, and I, by the way, do not have an internet connection on this. I mean, I do from my house. It reaches all the way out here to my jungle. But I don't, you know, if I were out in the field, because I commonly use this for my notes when I'm filming out in the field, then if I couldn't use it, it'd make it useless to me. You know, I could only use it in there, so its functionality is greatly decreased, and that would irritate me, and I would move on. In fact, if that happened to me, I'd ask for a refund if it was that harsh. So, hope this helps. hope that answers your question, you know, about what my stance is on piracy. I don't find it acceptable, whether it's software, music, television, movies, all of that. I don't find it acceptable. And all of it is getting so cheap these days, especially television, music, and videos and everything, that there's no need to. Case in point, I bought off of Amazon Falling Skies Season 1. Season 2 just came on, and I was like, okay, I want to, this looks really interesting, and I just saw some previews for it. I couldn't find it on demand on my cable box, so I went searching for it. I actually went searching at like Blockbuster and stuff like that, seeing if I could rent it. I can't. It's not on Netflix, but it is on Amazon. And so on Amazon, I paid $8 for the whole season to stream it to me. I don't download it or nothing, but it was a simple way of doing it, and they made it pretty easy. The software is a little bit buggy, which really is one of these troublesome things that gets in the way of a perfect product, but it's not an irritation enough to keep me from doing it again in the future. Although Amazon, Netflix has you beat on the ease of use and how simple it works and its reliability. So look at them and copy them. I don't mind buying stuff from you. And, you know, so check it out. In fact, I'll put a link to Amazon to their stuff, their movies and television shows that they have. They have a whole bunch of free stuff. And then, if you're Amazon Prime member, which I am, it costs $75 a year, but I order enough stuff from Amazon that I get second-day shipping for free on everything. In fact, I just bought a lawnmower on Amazon. The lawnmower weighs like 80 pounds shipped, and I'm getting it shipped second day for free. And, you know, I pay $75 a year for that. So if I had asked to have that shipped second day, basically it would have cost me probably $50 to $75. So it pays for itself right there. But if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a whole bunch of stuff for free. And so it's just another way to watch stuff online, streaming video, and not have to pay for it. And you know, so you know, if you've been pirating your stuff, why don't you check that out? Especially for the Amazon Prime, you could pay $75 and you can get a whole bunch of stuff, enough stuff to keep you watching for quite a while, and you don't have to pay anything more for it. So, hope that answers your question. I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.